Hello there, my name is Dina Wilder. I've been asked to give my pensions or missing pensions story. You might also know me as a persistent pensioner, and I'm quite a heavy campaigner. So you probably know my face. So here goes. I took a decision to move down to Margate in 2013 with my husband when my granddaughter was born severely disabled. And it was clear within the first year that they were at the end of their tether with the lack of sleep and the lack of support. So my husband and I sat down, we did the sums, and we decided if we downsized, we could probably afford to keep some money back, and it would help us establish here until I got my pension when I was 60, which would hopefully bring us a little bit in each week, as well as, Duncan's wage. So we took that move with that in mind, and I had just been made redundant, so it seemed a good time to make that move. It was only in 2017, when I was 58, I'd been here 3 years, that I saw a chance post on Facebook that told me not only was my pension delayed, it was delayed more than 6 years. To say that was devastating was an understatement, and I could not believe that I had been so stupid as to miss something as important as something that would devastate my retirement plans and my life, basically. So I started to look and I started to research, and the more I researched, the angrier I got, because it became quite clear to me that not only I hadn't been notified, but there was many more women out there that also hadn't been notified. And the more I dug, the more I conceived the fact that this was brought in by stealth. These governments and previous governments are experts. They're experts in targeting and profiling people to campaign to and to send out propaganda to, or just to do research to. There is no way they did not know which would be the right type of marketing to reach us 50s women. And they deliberately chose the most obtuse ways to do this so that we would not find out. Apart from that, the only other excuse is it was absolute, complete incompetence. I'm not sure which I'd prefer to be labelled with. However, the effect on me and my family is this. I have lost around about 50 odd £1,000 in direct pension payments, or I will have done by the time I receive my state pension. I will have used the rest of my savings that were put aside for our retirement, and I'm talking of a frugal retirement here, which is the odd little holiday and not worrying about the bills coming in, and that will be decimated as well. And that's something in the region of another £50,000, obviously, because I'm plugging the gap where the pension should have been. We also fell foul of the lovely little law that they snuck in over the budget week last year, which was the pensions credits. Whereas because my husband's a couple of years younger than me, we now can't even apply, if we're eligible, for pension credits until he is 67 years old, which is 8 years from now. That equates to something in the region, if we got the maximum, of another 64 grand. So if you do the sums, we're well in excess of £150,000 detriment, really, to us. But I consider myself lucky, compared to some of the women that are out there at the moment, forced to sell their homes and to sleep in their cars and eat out of food banks, who basically are frozen and starving at this moment. And I consider myself very fortunate, so I'm by no means doing the poor me here. I'm justifiably angry, and I want to know what this government has done with all my national insurance that I have paid in all these years for the pension that I was promised. In terms of family life, my husband now has to step up and try and fill the gap where my pension should have been. I have to work alongside my husband. I also have to do part-time work as well to try and plug the gap. It's very tiring. It also means that the grandparents that my granddaughter was having to help, alleviate the stress for my son and daughter, and to put some input and development into our disabled grandchild, has been decimated also. There are so many aspects. My health has been affected. I was pretty healthy. I'm now being monitored for my blood pressure, which around about 4 or 5 months ago, when in the heart of this campaign, soared off the scale, and I'm having to watch it at the moment. I'm also having to take anti-anxiety medicine now, because being my role as a blogger and campaigner, I deal every day with most heartbreaking stories from people emailing me, and that all has an effect. My family life with my husband is affected because he's now had a woman who's been ranting constantly and on her computer campaigning for 2 years. That is 2 years of my life that has been taken by this wicked, wicked government. To say that we were not discriminated against, as far as I'm concerned, is an absolute farce, and it makes me wonder whether our system is actually corrupt. Because you only have to look at reruns of the Sweeney to know that the women of our generation were absolutely discriminated against in every way, sexually, wage-wise, in every opportunity-wise, all our lives. And I am extremely angry because I have worked hard, I have done everything right, I have brought up my children and struggled as a single parent for 30 years, often doing 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet so that I would not have to be forced to live on benefits. And I retrained and I did everything to do that. Now, to reach my impending old age, when I am literally getting very tired, I'm like everybody else slowing down, and to be forced into this kind of stress by this uncaring government, as far as I'm concerned, is an absolute disgrace. And for every one of those 82,500 women who have died pensionless since this came in, I am saying that this government has blood on their hands. I want full restitution. In fact, if there was any justice in this world, we should have compensation as well as this, in order to alleviate and to make reparation, I beg your pardon, for the stress and the illness and the anxiety that we have all suffered. So as far as I'm concerned, there is 300 and odd, 71, whatever it was, 300, nearly 400 billion of the National Insurance Fund pillaged by various governments that was our money, that had it been left and invested as it should have been, would have given us all, men and women, a decent pension at a decent age. And if that money was paid in, then I want my pension fully refunded to me. Thank you.